Hello and welcome to our channel Jit Ki Pathshala. Today we will discuss environmental geography and the topic for today is elements of environment. So let's begin. It has already been mentioned that the meaning and scope of environment is extensive. In our earlier classes, we have already discussed that the meaning and the scope, that means the area of environment, is very large. It covers all the elements of lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere of the earth. And the environment contains the elements of all the spheres of environment, that are lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere. The elements of environment can be categorized into two types. These are biotic elements and abiotic elements. If we see the environment, we can see different things that are present in the environment, and the things that are present in the environment can be divided into two categories. Number one is biotic. Generally it means living thing, while the abiotic means non-living thing. The biotic elements are within the biosphere, and the biotic elements are generally found in the biosphere, and biosphere is that particular place where the life exists. It covers from the teeny microbes to the vast animals and all the plants, and biotic elements cover from a teeny microbes to the vast animals and plants that are present in our environment. On the other hand, all the non-living elements of lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere can be grouped under abiotic elements, and all the non-living things that are present in lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere are considered as abiotic elements. But we should remember that both of these elements, biotic and abiotic, are interdependent, and it is necessary to remember that whether it is biotic or abiotic, both of these play an important role for the creation of suitable environment. The characteristics of these elements are not similar in all the environments. So the characteristics of biotic and the characteristics of abiotic elements are not similar in all the environment. A few examples will clarify the above statements. Now let's see how we can say that the biotic and abiotic elements are not similar everywhere on the earth's surface. For example, it is given number 1. The equatorial regions experiences high temperature and high rainfall almost all throughout the year, and therefore we see the luxuriant growth of plants in the region. If we talk about equatorial regions which experiences high temperature along with high amount of rainfall throughout the year, that means the temperature as well as the amount of rainfall is high in the equatorial regions from January to December. As a result, we can see luxuriance, that means large growth of plants in this region. The natural vegetation of the equatorial regions has been known as equatorial evergreen forest, and the plants that grows in the equatorial regions are generally known as equatorial evergreen forest. 3 different layers of trees are seen in this forest, and in equatorial regions we can see 3 types of trees on the basis of height. The height of first layer of trees is found to be within 10 meters. So here it is written, first types of green plants that are found in equatorial regions have 10 meters height. Other 2 layers of trees have more heights, and other 2 types of trees or the other 2 layers of trees that are present in equatorial regions have more than 10 meters of height. In evergreen forests, the numbers of species is sometimes found to be as high as 3000 per square kilometer. In equatorial forest, the number of vegetations are very high. Sometimes even more than 3000 types of green plants are found in per square kilometer. As compared to this, it is quite low in case of natural vegetations of the tundra region. And from equatorial region, if we move toward tundra region, the natural vegetation of tundra region is totally different as compared to equatorial region. So also in the case of xerophytic plants. Xerophytic plants are those plants that can survive in environment with little liquid water, such as desert or in ice covered regions. Okay, so xerophytic plants are those plants which can survive in such environment where the amount of liquid water is very less, like we can talk about the environment of desert or even the environment which is covered with ice. So those plants which grow in desert as well as in ice covered area are known as xerophytic plants. So if we go to our tundra region, we can see more xerophytic plants that grow in the arid, that means dry or semi-arid regions. Similarly, the types of natural vegetation is found to vary within the increasing altitude of the mountain, and the highly elevated parts of the mountains are almost devoid. Devoid generally means lack of any vegetation. Just now we have talked about two types of environment. One was about equatorial region and another one was tundra region. Similarly, if we go toward mountainous regions, in mountainous regions also we can find different types of green plants. There are some highly elevated parts, highly raised parts of the mountains where even we do not find any kind of green vegetation. Like plants, animals are also found to be different under different environmental conditions. So like plants, if we talk about animal, we can also find different types of animals under different environmental condition. The equatorial forest cover only 6% of the total land surface of the earth, but about 75% of living organisms, both plants and animals, identified so far has been living within this forest. So if we talk about the land surface that is covered by equatorial forest, then it is only the 6% of the total land surface, but near about 75% of total living organisms, including both plants and animals of the earth surface, are found to be in the equatorial forest. These rainforests are ideal abode. Ideal abode generally means perfect house for different animals species like elephants, monkeys, birds, reptiles, amphibians. So these rainforests are perfect house for different types of plants and animals. On the other hand, in arid generally means dry, and semi-arid means semi-dry regions, we see only those animals like camel and some other species that can thrive, that can grow and develop in the very dry areas. But if we go toward the desert covered area, there we can only find those animals which can live in less water like camel and some other plants. White reindeer, polar bear and penguins are the common animals living in the polar region. So these are some of the animals that we can find in the polar region. So it can be said that there are different types of plants and animals under different environments that prevails over different parts of the global surface. So from the above paragraph, we can say that different types of plants and animal grows and develop on the basis of different environmental condition. Like the biotic elements, the abiotic elements are also different from region to region. So let's first talk about soil, as soil is also an example of abiotic elements. The formation and characteristics of soil normally depend on the geological structure, slope of land, amount of precipitation, plant cover, etc. of a certain area. If we talk about the abiotic elements like soil, soil is not similar everywhere. The quality of soil is not similar everywhere because for the formation of soil, some factors are very much responsible like the geological structure, slope of land, amount of precipitation, or the plant covers that particular area. These are some of the important factors which are responsible for the formation of soil. And as these factors are not equally distributed on the earth surface, the quality of soil is also found to be different. So we can say that along with biotic elements, abiotic elements are also different in different environmental condition. The soil of a river valley is normally alluvial, and the soil quality that is present on the river bank or in the river valley is generally alluvial, which is fertile and good for the cultivation of different types of crops. This type of soil is generally formed due to the deposition of sediment carried by the river water. On the other hand, the soil of the temperate grassland regions is primarily cernozem. Okay, that means fertile black soil. the color of this soil is slightly blackish. As I have already said, fertile black soil. The soil that present in temperate grassland is slightly blackish due to high organic contents and is mostly found in the semi-desert region. The soil of the high altitude area having coniferous type of vegetation is normally podzol. Podzol means low natural fertility and are strongly acidic. Okay, and the soil that is found in the high altitude regions are podzol in nature. It means it has less fertility and also contains acid. This soil is highly acidic. Okay, so the soil that is present in high altitude regions are generally highly acidic. This type of soil requires application of chemical fertilizer like nitrogen and phosphate in order to make it suitable for agriculture. As this soil contains highly acid, it also requires different types of chemical fertilizer to make the soil suitable for agriculture. Similarly, regional variation has been observed in case of air and water also. Similarly, we can also observe differentiation in the case of air and water on regional basis. That means if we talk about two different regions, there also we will notice some of the differentiation between the air and water present in these two particular regions. The climate of a particular region depends on the various climatic elements like temperature, atmospheric pressure, humidity, wind, precipitation, etc. From this line we can say that the climate of a place is mainly depend in some elements like temperature, atmospheric pressure, humidity, wind and precipitation. It means, in fact, this is the difference in climate that makes the place different. In real sense, if we have to say, it is the climate that makes two environment different from each other. So is also with the case of water. Almost 3/4 of the total surface area of the earth has been covered by water, and as we know that almost 3/4 of the total area of the earth's surface is covered by water. We see that waters of seas and oceans are saline due to salt content in it, while the running water is found to be fresh. And we know that the water that present in seas and oceans are saline due to the presence of salt in it. But if we talk about the running water are generally found to be fresh. There is underground water, and this is formed below the earth's surface due to percolation of rainwater through the porous. That means small pores. Small pores means small holes that are found between the rocks. And we know that water is also present under the ground. Whenever the rainfall occurs, as we have small pores on the earth's surface, from those pores water percolates and it accumulates under the ground. The water found in the polar areas is in the form of ice and snow due to very low temperature over those regions. But if we talk about the water that present in the polar regions, these are generally in the form of ice and snow, as the temperature of these area are very low. So this was about elements of environment from the lesson Environmental Geography, and hope you have understood something about this topic. In our upcoming videos, we will discuss the remaining part of the lesson. Thank you very much for watching the video.